Words. They don't just communicate thoughts. They reveal the hidden things in our hearts. They don't just communicate ideas. They create worlds. The mouth and the words we say are a creative force that is not only used all the time, but everywhere we go. Our words are the very essence of how the Creator made us. Join us as we discover the essence of man and the power of speech. Hello, welcome to day 47 of The Essence of Man and the Power of Speech. And this is probably going to be one of my favorites. You know, every now and then I have a favorite. This is one of them. Because I want to talk to you about the rudder in the ship. And I want you to look at your life in two categories, like a boat. There's the rudder, which is your mouth, your tongue. And then your life, your body, is this ship that is doing actions and deeds. It's carrying out things, okay? And so when a person guards the mouth, when you guard your mouth, you avoid many sins. Now, one of the sins that you avoid is things like speaking disparagingly against people to embarrass them, or you avoid comments that may cause harm. Maybe you avoid comments that avoid aggravated situations. You know, the Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath, okay? And then of course, there's these other commands about our mouth dealing with lying and gossiping and all these other things. So just with our mouth, there's enough sin out there without doing things of action, okay? With our bodies, okay? There's sins out there of the mouth and there's sins out there of the body, okay? So what I want us to do is I want us to get a mental picture here that the mouth is many times going to lead to the actions of the body. The sins in the mouth, like a rudder, is going to turn that ship in that direction. So if the mouth is speaking evil, whether it's, and you know the thing about whether it's the speaking of somebody disparagingly, or whether it's embarrassing people or whatever, eventually your body is going to take on actions of other sin. How many times have we seen people who blast people for sinning, and then they themselves get caught up in the same sin? That happens. So watch this. Let's look at James. Listen to this. Let's look at James chapter 3. And let's start at verse 2. For in many things we offend all. In many things we offend all. So if any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man. So if you don't offend with your mouth, that's equivalent to a mature person, a perfect man. And able also to bridle the whole body. Now, if we wonder probably why we can't bridle our whole body in other areas of sin, it's probably because we can't guard our mouth properly. Listen to it again. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, speaking evil, the same as a perfect man, able also to bridle the whole body. He's able to control the whole body. Why? Because behold, we put bits in a horse's mouth that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. So if you ever ridden a horse, you got the reins, you got that bit in his mouth, and you know, jerk on it a little bit, stops the horse, turn him this way. He's going to go that way, go this way, going to go that way. And after a while, if you start working your knees with the reins, then the horse knows how to obey based upon how you move your knees. If you go right knee, the horse will go right. But it has to start with the bit. And the body becomes more sensitive. Now watch this. Behold also the ships, which though they be so great, okay, and are driven by fierce winds, yet they turned about with a very small helm, whatsoever the governors listed. So watch this. There are storms that are in our life. In other words, there's always opportunity to speak evil. There's always going to be storms out there that are trying to rock your body, your ship, your life, to speak evil. But in the end, it's the rudder that's in control of the captain of the ship. Inside you is you. You're the captain of your ship, controlling this rudder that's going to affect how this body responds in the midst of storms of life. Now, here's what happens when the storms come. Many of us just let go of the steering of the ship, the helm of the ship. We let go of the steering of the ship, and we just let the rudder go wherever it wants to go, and the ship just going flip-flop, 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 and it's just being tossed in the storm. What we've got to do is grab a hold of the steering wheel, for lack of a better term, get a hold of that steering wheel with our desire and our will and our discipline. And that way we get a hold of the rudder. And we can stop the ship, our body, from losing control, okay, in the midst of the storms of life that want to try and shipwreck, if you will, our life. Can I submit something to you that many people's boat is shipwrecked because they just let go of the rudder? Our lives have found it so messed up sometimes because we just didn't control our mouth. Look at our nation. Look at news media. Look at social media, for that matter. You can't have lawlessness with your mouth and expect to have a life of law with your body. If the mouth is lawless, then the whole body will be lawless too. That's the facts. If your mouth is living a life of lawlessness, then the whole body is going to be lawless. And it doesn't have to be subtle thing. Something major. It could be subtle things that we say that eventually cause our whole body to be lawless. It happens. You know, you complain about people, then you end up doing harm to people. If you complain about people, then you end up betraying people. If you inaction, okay? If you aren't thankful and complain about everything in life, then what you end up doing is you start taking action to separate yourself from things. When you complain about your life, you're separating yourself from God. This is the thing I don't think we really understand. It's no different if you complain about your spouse, you end up separating from your spouse. If you complain about your children, you end up separating yourself from your children. If you complain about friends, you end up separating yourself from your friends. Your mouth leads to a bodily action. The rudder turns the boat. If we complain about our life, we separate ourselves from God. You don't believe me? Look at the children of Israel. Every time they complained, they found themselves messed up, worshiping other gods, and and then things got messy. The boat just got shipwrecked. I mean, it got, it's kind of like the Gilligan's Island thing. A 3-hour tour turns into a lifestyle living on a deserted island somewhere, and you're lost. Don't let the lawlessness of your mouth, the rudder, cause your boat to become shipwrecked because you didn't take control of the rudder. See, this is why we talked about no excuses. When you're piloting your ship here with your guard in your mouth, there is no excuses because your boat is on a course. And if you make excuses with the rudder of your mouth, guess what? You're still going to reap the rewards of shipwrecking your boat. And you know what the other problem with that is? There's other people following your boat. And the other problem with that is there's sometimes you're taking passengers with you, and if your mouth, your rudder goes crazy and is not in control, watch this, then what begins to happen is you shipwreck others with you. So, guarding your mouth keeps us from many sins. Many sins. You guard your mouth against the sins of the mouth, but then by doing so, you also help guard your body from committing sins, the actions thereof. So, today, focus on guarding your ship or guiding your ship in the direction that it needs to go by guarding your mouth. All right? Hey, see you next time on The Essence of Man and the Power of Speech.